This presentation is called the best free social media tools for the travel and dive industry. That's what I like to do. It's easy for me to come in here and sell you on tools. They're going to cost you money, and they're really enterprise level and really awesome and give you all this functionality. But Dima hired me to help you guys make more money. And free is better at making you more money. I think you can all agree. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you follow me on Twitter, follow me at Hi-Fi Promotions, and you will be entered for a chance to win a free consultation. I've already given away 2 free consultations at Dima, and you could be entered for a chance to win as well. Yesterday, it was at Wizard of Google. I'm also the Wizard of Google. Don't follow me at Wizard of Google. My assistant is only looking at Hi-Fi Promotions, so if you want the free consultation, go to Hi-Fi Promotions. That doesn't count for you, Pete. The agenda. We're going to talk about the social media landscape. I mean, we all recognize these networks. There's all different kinds of social media networks. We're going to talk about which ones work for you. We're also going to talk about finding your customers. How do you know which network to use to find your customers for this industry? There's so many out there. Do you use Snapchat, or I'm sure there's some up-and-coming social media network called Breakwind or something like that that's going to have a new IPO soon. How do you know not to use that one? How to create a plan. This is actually the core of this course. Most of the courses that you take for social media are going to teach you that, well, you need to spend like an hour a week, or a couple hours a week, or I spend 6 hours a week on this. This plan is designed so that you can, once you get ahead of the game, you spend time every quarter on it. Like maybe an hour or 2 hours every quarter, every 3 months. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Free tools, less time. What? We're going to do researching keywords too. How do you research keywords? Where's a good avenue to research the keywords that'll work for you? This just in, the keyword that you think might be the best keyword might not be the best keyword. But there is empirical data you can go look at instead of making an emotional decision like, well, I really love spear fishing. I want to put that in there as opposed to spear fisher. Well, I'll show you how to find the keywords. We're also going to talk about claiming and updating outlets. Everyone's a publisher here. The internet has destroyed the publishing industry. I've written 4 books. I didn't go through a single publisher. I publish it myself online through Amazon. This is how we are going to turn you guys into publishers too, claiming these outlets. So first, the social media landscape. There's a lot of different types of social media, so let's clarify what we're talking about. Social media could be a messenger, right? It could be a Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is technically social. You can post all that stuff. It could be a discussion like one that I've used is Yammer. Anyone in here used Yammer? I think Yammer was bought by Salesforce or something. It's internal communications, not different from any other messaging app. Publishing apps, you've got Tumblr and WordPress.org and Blogger. Sharing apps like YouTube. There's all different kinds of networks. Well, which one's is best for you? We're going to focus on publishing, sharing, and a little bit of collaboration. So, when you're creating a social media strategy, there's a reason that this is like the second slide, because it's one of the most important things you need to know. A lot of people get in trouble with social media. Look at the people who ran for president. All 4 of them, because there were 4, not just 2, all 4 of them got in trouble on social media. Keep it light, keep it positive. If you have something negative to say, help me out here. What was that old saying? If you have something negative to say, right, don't say anything at all. Keep it positive, keep it light, okay? If you're going on a rant, social media might not be the best place for that. Let's talk about creating a strategy. Funny picture, that's so true, isn't it? I mean, Instagram's just food, food, food. When you're creating a strategy, you need to understand what kind of media works on your social network. Well, what if you're creating a podcast, a how-to podcast? What if your goal is to become known as the how-to guy for great white shark diving? I want to show you how to dive with great white sharks and not get eaten. Maybe you can become that guy. But would you do that on Instagram, a podcast on Instagram? Nah. When you create a strategy, you have to keep the media in mind that you're using on that particular network. It sounds really basic. You have no idea how many times I'll see people just don't get that right. Next thing you need to do when you're creating a strategy is begin with the end in mind. What goal are you trying to achieve? Now let's talk about goals. Everyone says, well, I want to make more money. I want to make more money. Okay. Do you want to open up another shop? Do you want to hire a general manager? Do you want to retire? Do you want to sell your shop? There's all different kinds of goals that you can have with social media. Just making money isn't going to give you the best perspective and the best voice. Maybe your goal is to become the how-to guy, again, in diving. Well, if that is your goal, then you're going to have a different voice than someone who just wants to sell you on e-commerce. That person is going to have a much different content output. Would you agree with me? Very good. When you're creating a strategy, I advise all of you to be ambitious and create a stunt. Stunt marketing is fun. This is where you can get really crazy with your marketing. It is probably going to cost you money, unless you do something like, hey, open up your mouth and I'm going to squirt ranch dressing down it and see what happens. I mean, if you do something like that and it turns out viral, well, okay, you didn't spend any money. But most of us are not going to do something like that crazy, like, oh, let's see if I can eat a gallon of cinnamon. Everyone else tries 1 teaspoon, I'm just going to, yeah, that might go viral. Other than that, creating a strategy around a stunt is going to cost you money. Maybe that's a party. Maybe it's something that is so huge that your customers can't ignore it. I'll give you an example of this. I consulted with a magazine, Tangible Magazine, and this person had, he was the 4th largest magazine in a town of 50,000 people. That lets you know kind of where he was. He's now the 2nd largest magazine in the county as opposed to just the city. And we started that by getting a derived demand. There's a big word at noon. Derived demand means people want it. We got a derived demand for a free magazine, and we did it by stunting. We threw a huge party, and at that party, we gave people something that they could only get from our website. And so we went from about 12 visitors a month on his website to like 2,000, all from a stunt. And now once you get those 2,000 people on your site, you can market to them. So creating a strategy, hey, get ambitious, try a stunt somehow. Consider your time commitment. Most people think of social media as something that you're going to have to, I alluded to this earlier, something that you're going to have to spend hours and hours and hours of time on. Well, what if you wrote a short post? How long do you think it takes you to type out 140 characters? 5 minutes. We need to chat. That's right. And then you add a picture and then a link and then it's not quite right. So 2 minutes. Yeah, not that long. That can be a social post, but social postings can also be longer. You'll see I mentioned using a mix of short and long posts. It is not necessary for you to write a long blog every time you want to blog. I have successfully gotten blogs ranked that were 140 words, a blog, a whole blog, 140 words. And it can get ranked if you use it properly, and I'll show you how to use that properly. But don't think that you have to spend all of this time writing long posts, long posts, long posts. You can spend just a couple minutes writing short posts and mix a long one in. And I'm going to show you how to do the long ones. That's way easier than you think.
How do video blogs compare to written?
We are going to get to that, sir. And I'll give you a little preview. Does anyone know that Google recently announced that they're ranking virtual reality videos? By show of hands, who here heard that? Because it was only like 2-3 days ago. Okay. So Google is ranking virtual reality videos. They've been talking about this for a long time. There are few moments in life where you're going to be able to take advantage of something that you're the first at. Let's exaggerate to prove a point. Back in 1995, if someone searched for spear fishing, they might get someone in San Francisco, someone in New York, and someone in Wisconsin, because there were only 3 websites in 1995 advertising spear fishing. That's kind of how it is right now. There are no virtual reality videos out there. And so you getting a virtual reality video ranked of your store. Doesn't even have to be underwater. Samsung Galaxy S7 Samsung will let you take the phone home for 24 hours. You can record virtual reality video with a Samsung Galaxy S7. I'm just saying, go get a phone, take some videos, send it back in 24 hours. That's just a tip. Get some virtual reality videos online and you will find that your rankings will increase sooner. You're grimacing at that. You don't like the idea of returning the phone? You don't want the phone to blow up, maybe? I heard the S7 doesn't do that. When when you're talking about, what I want to talk about here is keywords. And when you're talking about keywords for social media, a lot of people will try and include keywords on the fly, or maybe 30 to 50 keywords. There's no rhyme or reason. It is to your benefit to use keywords that people are going to be searching for. Do you guys know that people search Twitter? Twitter's actually a pretty big search engine. Does anyone know how many monthly searches, by show of hands, Twitter gets on average? It's just over 3 million. 3 million a month. That's worldwide, right? So it's going to be little pockets. That's quite a bit of search activity. So putting in keywords in Twitter that people might actually search for will get you shown more often. Anyone not understand that concept, as opposed to putting in keywords that people are not looking for? Very good. Who here can tell me what a stop word is? If you can, you're a severe geek, but I want to hear from you. What's a stop word? Okay, and, but, to, if. Google doesn't index those words. If you wanted to say casino in Las Vegas, Google is going to show you the same rankings for casino Las Vegas. Understand? Google takes out the in. It's a stop word. They just take it out. They don't index it. So when you're using stop words, you can create more keywords, as I just told you. Instead of just being scuba diving Sydney, you could say scuba diving at Sydney Harbor. Scuba diving at Sydney Harbor. That's a completely different keyword than scuba diving Sydney, isn't it? I'm going to start calling you guys. Is that a different keyword? Is scuba diving in Sydney Harbor different from scuba diving Sydney? Google sees them almost equal. And a lot of search engines will see them almost equal for someone searching for scuba diving Sydney. They're going to take out the in. And then the harbor, obviously, that's part of the term, but you're going to get shown when people search for scuba diving Sydney. Understand? Okay. So you can use stop words to amend your keywords so it's not the same keyword over and over and over and over. Scuba diving Sydney, scuba diving Sydney, scuba diving Sydney. Right? You can mix it up. Use stop words in that. Also, when you're using keywords in your posts, make sure you use your brand name. This has got to be the biggest thing that I see. If you have a tweet, I'm not going to promote Twitter today, by the way, I'm not. I'm just mentioning Twitter. If you have a tweet and it gets retweeted, and what's your brand? Ocean Enterprises. Your tweet gets retweeted, and Ocean Enterprises is not in the tweet. How's anyone going to know it's from Ocean Enterprises? Duh. So many people don't consider that. Yeah, it's on your Ocean Enterprises account until someone retweets it, and now it's on their account, and it doesn't say Ocean Enterprises. So you just lost out there. Even if you do have keywords, make sure you include your brand.
You set your Twitter account up as your brand name as at the brand name.
Well, you should, because if it gets retweeted, then your brand name won't be in there. It won't necessarily say at Wizard of Google. And that depends how many times it gets retweeted. The first time, it will. If it gets happened again, like if I retweet her post and then he retweets my post, I keep doing that, then it's not going to show up when he retweets it. So it's a level away. Definitely put it in. Always put in your brand name. Again, because once it gets too far away from you, you want the attribution. Oh, hey, that's my post. That's me. I did that. Right? Did I answer your question, sir? You're full of good questions. Yesterday, you kept me on my toes. This is a great way to find keywords. If you were at my presentation about making your website sell better, then you've heard of Google Search Console. If you haven't heard of Google Search Console, it's Google Webmaster Tools. They changed the name about a month ago. There have been a ton of changes with Search Console. In fact, I was preparing for this presentation this morning, and one of the reports that I had up here is no longer available in Search Console, so I had to delete the slide. I mean, they're literally changing it all the time. So when you're in Search Console, go to the search traffic, search analytics, and it will give you a list of keywords down here. Imagine that. Google showing you what keywords people are searching for. That doesn't necessarily mean they're using those keywords to click on your site. That means they're searching for them. You can see that here by impressions and clicks. You can see that over there too, impressions and clicks. An impression is when your ad shows up or listing shows up. A click is when someone goes to your website. So this is a great sample of what people are typing in to find your website organically. Is everyone following me here, or is this a little over your head? I'm going to start calling on folks. Is this over your head, sir? I don't think so. Yeah. This is another way to find keywords if you don't want to use Google Search Console, WordStream. WordStream is an aftermarket tool, but you know, it's kind of like triangulation, right? You triangulate something, you can really get a good point on it. This will help you triangulate words. It's not going to be 100% accurate, neither is Google, but this is going to be another tool for you. It is not free. This is the one that is not free. I'm telling you this because you don't have to use it monthly, like every single month. Use it once, get all the keyword data you use, make sure you take screenshots and download it, and then you don't have to pay for it again, 1 month. And at one point, they give you a 30-day free trial. Yes?
On the Google one, so it shows Texas car dealers first. You have to scroll way down and find the most searched for.
So let's go back here. I sorted this by impressions. I know you can't see that. There's a little arrow right here. There's a little arrow right there. See that arrow? It is sorted by impressions. And you can sort by clicks, page position, click-through rate, all kinds of stuff. And as a matter of fact, I just added another field last night, which I haven't experimented with, so I don't know what it does. But you can sort by all of these various fields to find out where your website is getting clicked on. And it'll even show you what page position you're in. I'm sorry? From your own Google account, yes. So to integrate with Google Search Console, you need to have Google Analytics on your website. If you get Google Analytics on your website, type in Google Webmaster Tools. Go to Google Webmaster Tools while you're logged in and click Verify this property. If your analytics is in the right place, voila, you've got tons of information that your competitors may not have. This Search Console, okay. Let me go back. About 5 years ago, Google took this information away from us. Do you guys remember that? All of a sudden, they started showing not set if you didn't have your words in here. And in analytics, it would say not set, 50,000 impressions. And then you see your next word had like 3 impressions. It'd be like, well, great, so what is all that? They've given it back to us here. They want you to integrate with Search Console. Everybody on the same page here? But you can use it to find keywords. And again, this is a word stream just to give you another avenue for it, okay? Any questions? My dog looks at me like that all the time. Any questions? No questions. I'm either boring the hell out of you guys or this is real too simple. Okay, be proactive. Schedule your posts in advance. This is where I find a lot of people have a problem. You say to yourself, you know what, every Thursday, I'm going to go out, I'm going to put out a social media post, and then Wednesday you go, and you're right, you're going to get busy, your mom's going to get sick, or your store's going to, and so what ends up happening is you miss Thursday's post once, and then maybe twice, and you just drop it off. The easy way to do this is how we do it. Tip from a pro. This is how we do it. Sit down for 2 hours. Write content for 2 hours and post that content out for a month or 2 months. You have now compartmentalized your time. We're going to show you how to use a system called cascading content. I'm going to show you that here. And you can use all of that for multiple social networks. Now what happens is you're a month or 2 months ahead, and this stuff is already scheduled. I'm going to show you how to schedule it out so it's released whether you're living or dead. This stuff will be scheduled out, and you now have time to go work on your social media plan for the next quarter, right? If you've got 2 months, you've got a little bit of time, and you're ahead of the game. Getting ahead of the game in social, that's clutch. You know, I don't know how close that shark is to this guy, but man, he looks really too close for me. It definitely looks like this shark is about to interact with him. You need to know what kind of video or what kind of content your customers interact with. If your customers are not interacting with video, then why are you going to produce more videos? If your customers are interacting with all of your podcasts, duh, go produce some more podcasts. There's all different kinds, as you can see, of media that you can use, but you need to make sure, again, that you're tailoring the media to the kind that your customers want to see. For travel, a lot of travel, people are looking at images and videos. They're not listening to podcasts, for example. They're not looking at infographics, okay? For other stuff, maybe they are looking at infographics. Maybe someone wants to look at a Yazbek spear gun and you're showing how to load it, how to shoot it, all the good stuff. Well, okay, maybe that's an infographic. Use images to build rapport. I can't tell you how many times I see this where someone says, well, 80% of my decision makers are female. And yet, when you look at their homepage, they'll have a nice picture of their boat with like lightning and black skies and blah. And then there's a captain standing out there. Here, I'll get up front so everyone can see this. And then you'll see the captain standing out there like this. And his first mate standing there like this. Yeah, that totally makes women want to buy from you. 100%, not so much. So take off the lightning, take off the black, take off the boat, and put some pictures in there that your market will identify with. It's not your boat. I know everyone in here is so proud of their 49-foot, Bertram, I might be saying that wrong, 49-foot boat. Everyone's so proud of their boat. The customers would like to see a picture of your boat. They want to know you have a boat, but they don't need to see boat picture and motor picture and cabin picture, and that's too much. People want to see people. People want to see people having fun. And in particular, if you look at studies of what pictures get interacted with the most, the very first picture that gets interacted with the most by guys and girls is babies. Babies. Doesn't even have to be human babies. Could be animal babies. Stingray baby. I don't know, jellyfish baby. Any kind of babies. It's true. It's crazy. I've read so many studies on that. The second thing that people look at, this is across genders, is women and children together. Guys like looking at girls. Girls like looking at girls. There's a kid in there. I don't know. I don't make this stuff up. I just read the studies. The next thing is animals. The third most interacted with picture is animals. And so if you're going to use images to build bonding and rapport, do not use an image of your spear gun. That's great that you have a spear gun. Use an image of someone using the spear gun. Or everyone, hey, yeah, look at this huge tuna, okay? What's that? Wow. That takes it to a whole new level right there. I mean, you might get some viralness out of that. That could be stunt marketing right there. Baby Spear Gun World Championship. Okay, so Fiverr. When you're talking about these kinds of media, a lot of you do not have the ability to take a picture and then mold your brand name into it and put your special into it and add a baby on it. Use Fiverr, okay? Fiverr. A lot of people come to me and they go, Steve, I'm so upset. You told me Fiverr would be $5. I spent $15 on Fiverr. Oh my gosh, are you serious? You spent $15 to get a professionally quality video or picture made and you're complaining? I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Fiverr is awesome. Not all of the contractors on Fiverr are gonna be good. For you guys, they're gonna be awesome. For me, I have a guy on my staff who develops 3D movies and he works for me part-time. He does this and he does it really good. But for you guys, Fiverr is clutch. Check out Fiverr. I sent my wife a video. Someone made a video for my wife's anniversary, or for our anniversary. So glad she's not here. And the video was someone singing into the camera, and they were being kind of silly, and $5. They made a video for my wife. So you can get anything done on Fiverr for $5, just about anything. Check it out, okay? Fiverr's awesome. Okay, so this is where I'm going to show you how to create content that you can use to cascade for a long time. Using transcriptions is key. Let me give you an example. Right now, we are recording this. At the end of this presentation, when I get that video, I'm going to send it to my social media coordinator. She is going to transcribe it. Most of you don't have social media coordinators, but there's other ways you can do it. She's going to transcribe it. It's going to take up 7 to 8 pages of content. Wow. How many posts do you think 7 or 8 pages of content is? Yeah, 30, 40, 50? We do about 6 months worth of content from one presentation. I'm giving 4. So you can understand how you can use this transcription. It's original content. It's got the right lingo coming from me. And so I'm not having to do anything except pay a transcriptionist, which you can also get on Fiverr. It might cost you $10. So a 3-minute transcription will take up about 2 paragraphs of text. 3 minutes, 2 paragraphs. That's a blog, folks. Especially if you've got a footer after the blog that says the same thing every time, which every blog should have a closing footer. This is easy, easy. You see this, notice I don't have a lot of words on my slides, they're mostly pictures, because this topic is so dull. This is what I talked about last time here at DEMA, and all we did was type it up, and now it's a blog post, and it's also social media stuff. Any questions about this transcription? Anyone go, Steve, that doesn't work? Yes, sir. Good question. Would I include the video with the transcription was his question. Now, the problem if I include the video with the transcription is I'm going to have to cut that little video up. I could put it on YouTube. For me, we have not used the videos cut. We use the videos long, and we use the posts so that I can get 30 to 50 posts out of one. Could we use the video? Yeah, we could. No one's going to watch an hour and a half or a 45-minute video, right? We'd have to cut it up into manageable segments, and we have other videos that we do that for. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, basically it depends on the video you use or not.
Totally. Yes. If you make a 15 to 30 second video, we are going to talk a little bit about video. Remind me, if I don't mention view time, remind me that when we get there. So if you do 5 minutes of recording, then it's going to be about 3 paragraphs of text. Here's what that sounds like. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? What's the name of your business?
Scuba Playa.
Scuba Playa. And what is your primary objective with Scuba Playa? Are you diving, or you travel, live aboard? Diving. What kind of diving? Seal diving?
What?
Seal diving, cave diving, squid diving?
We have a cavern, ocean, and Cozumel.
You can see where I'm going with this. She's answering these questions. I sent it off to a transcriptionist, and all of a sudden she's got content. All she's doing is talking, folks. You do it all day. I do this, how I write my stuff, just so you know, is I do it in the car. If I'm driving somewhere, I turn on my phone, turn on the video recorder, and I just blah, 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 blah. Here's how we do SEO different. Go to my SEO page on my website. That was all written from a car. Or I just spoke it, sent it to my social media coordinator. Google is ranking things based on semantic search. Semantic search is becoming big business for elderly people and for millennials. And I know that sounds kind of weird. Elderly people don't have the ambidextrous fingers, the dexterity in their fingers to be able to do this. My dad's got like a big claw on his hand, so he just kind of mashes the touchscreen, right? So older people are saying, I need a pest control person in Houston. They're using voice search all the time. This, what I'm telling you to do, recording it, is giving you semantic quality search. So you're already getting content that's made for the future. Any questions, any concerns about this concept? This is kind of the core of this. Awesome. You either don't believe me or you're right on board. Use your website content. I don't understand why people tell me all the time, well, I don't have any content. Who in here does not have a website? By show of hands, does not have a website. Then you've got content. And guess what? You approved all that content. You put it up there. I don't understand why people say, well, I can't post that on Twitter. Because you think someone's going to go to your website and then research every single social post you've made and cross-reference it versus the text that they just read and say, oh my gosh, using your website. Nobody does that. This just didn't. Nobody does that. You've approved all the content on your website, right? Didn't you approve it? Did you approve all the content on your website? Yeah? Okay. If you approved all the content on your website, copy, paste. Take a picture from the page. You've got the link. Done. There's your post. Remember we talked about getting ahead of the game? You've probably got 2 to 3 months worth of postings just from your website. Google doesn't care about duplicate content on social media networks. So it's not like you're going to be penalized or anything like that. Most of the stuff is going to be no follow, and that's just a little reference for the geeks in here. This is more about it. This right here, I work for some air conditioning companies in Texas. And this right here is some content from an air conditioning company. It's on their website. We scraped it, dropped it into a Facebook post right here. We added a little Death Star pollen, a little stuff right there. Hashtag, social media post. Was that hard? Heck no, that was copy paste. Are you guys on board with this, or is everybody good? Copy paste. Any questions? No questions? Okay. So when you start with this, we showed you that there's a bunch of directories. And you can certainly diffuse your time out amongst all of these different directories, and you will lose your shirt. You need to focus on the 1 or 2 or maybe possibly 3, I would say, at the most, directories that are going to help you achieve your goal. What we're talking about is not social media grace. We're talking about your goal. This is business. Was your goal to hire the new general manager? Well, if it was, then you need to use the directories that are going to bring you enough people to make enough money to hire that general manager. Are we all on the same page with that? Very good. So start with the directories that rank well in search results. The way to do that, and the rank well in search results, is because Google will give those directories preference. You will start seeing those directories in search results, but it also means that those directories are prominent. I think most of us in here trust Google's results, and so if we go Google something and they show us a result, we can say, wow, that one must be pretty prominent. Let's try that one. It is difficult for me to come in here and say, do this network, this network, this network. Let me give you an example. Peter here is from Australia, and we do some work together, and it would be impossible for me to get him on Yelp. We're going to talk about Yelp. Yelp, every time I talk to Yelp, I feel like I have to shower. However, Yelp here is extremely important. Yelp in Australia is irrelevant. So it's difficult for me to come in here and say, this network, this network, this network. You need to go do custom searches with your geo modifiers for your industry, travel or spearfishing or scuba diving, whatever it is, to find out which directories are going to get you visibility. Everyone understand that concept? I think I'm way talking over everyone's head. That's what it feels like.
Directories always search-oriented data?
Say that again?
Are directories always search-oriented? Yelp, for example, is searching for all the restaurants, et cetera, in an area. So are all directories data that's derived from some algorithm for searching in that geographical area?
So what you're talking about is semantics. When I put directories on there, I could have said outlets or social media, publishing networks. Oh, okay. So yes, a directory would be something that consolidates information like Yelp, Yellow Pages, Super Pages. Those are directories that consolidate information and reviews. TripAdvisor is a directory we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you how to use TripAdvisor because they've changed. Did that answer your question? Okay. This is the Yelp interface right here. I mean, they have so many. This is crazy. So many fields here. Fill out every field in your profile. There are social media networks that won't show your profile, Twitter, unless it's filled out properly. If you don't have a picture on Twitter and someone's searching for you, it's going to show all the results above yours because you don't have a picture in there. Just fill out your directory profile completely. It's not hard. This is the longest one right here. And you can see that. That's not even a page. Let's talk about Yelp. Ugh. Yelp's a double-edged sword. 70 million visitors a year. You cannot ignore it. If you ignore it, your competitor will not. I have inside info with Yelp, and I do know about some of the discretions and all of the lawsuits that have happened. Sometimes you got to dance with the devil. And if you want to achieve your goal in this country, North America, I would highly recommend using Yelp. You may have to wash your hands when you're done. You might just have to get someone else to do it. Hear no evil, whatever. But you have to get on there. You need to get Yelp reviews. You can also, because this is what we're talking about is being social, you can post comments. Yelp allows you to post a certain amount of comments per day. You can go in there and post comments every day. Your competitors aren't doing it, and so by you doing it, it's going to make you rank higher. Another thing with Yelp, besides filling out the directory fully, is the Yelp advertising. This is, again, social, what we're talking about, but this is just a little anecdote. The Yelp advertising is really good, quite substantial. If I look at analytics reports from all over the world, for those of you who I didn't really introduce myself, I've managed over 3,000 of these campaigns. I look at analytics accounts in Australia, Malaysia, Canada, Belize, and Yelp in this country is some of the best traffic that you will get consistently, every single time. It's crazy. So again, you don't have to dance with the devil, but your competitor is getting that awesome traffic. So just suck it up. Any questions? I put that up there because I have a real question about what he's doing. No questions? Okay, good. TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor has changed. Last year, TripAdvisor was trying to be social. They had all this social stuff, and you could interact with friends and connect with people and make all these connections. TripAdvisor is a network that you need to use, period. In your industry, dive and travel, TripAdvisor shows up, if not on the first page, on the second, like 90% of the time. You need to integrate with TripAdvisor. It's easier than you think, and I'm going to show you how. Like it says up here, the reviews are social, but you're not really allowed to socialize with people yet, okay? You do the forum search, and I've got some liveaboard searches just for you up here too. I put that in here for you last night. Okay, this is a search for scuba. I don't know if you can see that term right there. See that right there? This is a search for scuba. Scuba diving Playa Mujeres, not the best place for scuba diving, but we want a relaxing. You can go in there and respond to that. And it doesn't matter if there's already 7 comments on there. You can put an 8th. You can respond to this 6 years later. Being active on TripAdvisor gives you points. Points mean you get ranked higher. And in order to get found, you don't necessarily have to win Google. You could win TripAdvisor. And when someone searches for you, TripAdvisor shows up. And well, you happen to be number 1 on TripAdvisor, so guess who they're going to see? Yes, sir.
I haven't set up TripAdvisor.
Okay. Forums, right here. Let me show you the next one. Liveaboards. Anyone in here have a liveaboard besides you? Liveaboards have a super hard problem on TripAdvisor, right? Like they don't even like you really. The forums is that's the little loophole you use. Get into the forums and write as much about the liveaboards as you can. You can also get in there and write reviews about other liveaboards. This is another thing that will elevate your profile with TripAdvisor. Writing reviews about other businesses. There are at least 50 people in this room. If you were to write a review about him and him and him and him and him and all these people, your TripAdvisor ranking would go up. And again, you don't necessarily have to get traffic on TripAdvisor. You could get traffic from Google just being number 1 on TripAdvisor. Just being social. This is just social. And you can help achieve your goal. Any questions, comments about using TripAdvisor? I don't know if you can do it as a business. No, you can do it as a business. No, you can't. I'm trying to think. We use TripAdvisor for online reputation management. And so I'm trying to think. We've used it as personal and business. I believe that you can write reviews as your business because you can review other businesses. I'm fairly certain on that. We did online reputation for a hospital CEO who was going through a merger, and he was involved in several lawsuits. Dude was super shady. We used TripAdvisor. This guy was a medical CEO, but TripAdvisor, Google loves it so much. We wrote reviews on TripAdvisor and got a link on TripAdvisor for his company, and it was his company writing reviews about other companies that we did. So that's kind of what makes me think. But typically we do it as an individual, typically, because the individuals are going in here to the forums and making the comments. But you can write review. I'm 99% positive you can do it as a business. I'm sorry I couldn't fully answer your question there, but I know we have done it in the past. Any other questions about TripAdvisor? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
They've started with TripAdvisor that you can also do advertisements and put the correct link, click, buy on there. The problem is if you are not set up for that, and someone goes and looks at your site and your reviews and it says, who wants to know more about this business, you click on it and it takes you to your competitors, click it, buy now with your competitors. How do you overcome that?
That's a good question. I don't know. What we do for TripAdvisor is we just win, baby. That's it. Just win. We are just 10 times more active than everyone else. If you go on our site and you look at our case studies, you'll see 2 case studies that in particular mention TripAdvisor where we just slaughtered the competition. We had 3,000 reviews that we wrote for somebody. The next closest person had like 20.
What's the best way to get people to do TripAdvisor? I mean,
You don't need people to do TripAdvisor. You're the one who gets active on it.
okay, so you're saying go with ours to other places.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Use your profile and be active with that profile, and it will elevate your profile. But so what we're talking about is being social, so let's not get away from that. Writing these TripAdvisor forums is very social. It's different from what most people think of social media, Twitter, but this is extremely interactive. I'm not on YouTube. This is where we're going to talk about your YouTube view time. Here's some YouTube tips. I was going to go into YouTube really huge, but there's been so many video marketing courses given over this DEMA show that I'm going to give you a few tips that may or may not have been mentioned in the other video marketing courses. These are tips that we use. You guys can read, so you can read those two things. Here's what this sounds like. All right, and so now we have assembled the mouse pointer 3000. I would love it if you wrote a comment. If I missed anything or anything I could improve about this, please write a comment. Go on my page and subscribe to it. Was that hard? How hard was that? That's asking for it. Just ask for it. It's hard for people to sell sometimes, but asking for the sale is imperative. And in this case, you're asking for the subscription. You're asking for the comment. When you get subscribed to on YouTube, you get thumbs up. When you get comments on YouTube, you get thumbs up, especially if you re-interact with the comment. You get 2 thumbs up. Let's talk a little bit about view time before I get into VR. YouTube is a publicly traded company through Google, sir. And so you can go online. I'm the wizard of Google. I have to read Google's annual report. I do it every year. It's the most boring time of my year. 180 pages of snooze fest. However, what they tell you is 2 or 3 things every year that put you above your competition. A couple of things that they say every single year about YouTube. You guys can go read this. It's their annual public report. It's public info. YouTube ranks videos. Number 1 ranking factor is percentage of time viewed. Percentage of time viewed. So if you have a 5-minute video and someone watches 1 minute, let's do some math. 5-minute video, someone watches 1 minute. What percentage of the video did they view? 20%. If you have a 1-minute video and someone watches 30 seconds, how much did they view? You just beat your competition. Your video gets ranked higher because as a percentage of view time, you crush those dudes. They only got 20% of view time. They watch less of your video, 60 seconds versus 30 seconds, right? They watched half as much, but percentage-wise, they watched a lot more, which is the reason your videos are so short. It's really easy when you create 30-second videos to get someone to watch it for 15 seconds. Oh my gosh. And you talk about the rankings, that is super, super easy. So use percentage of view time when you're creating videos. Don't make, like I was talking to, I forget who asked the question, someone asked how I would use this video, and I said, well, you'd have to chop it up. If you put this video online, your percent of view time is going to be like 0.0000, right? Yeah, not so good. If you take this video and chop it up into 30-second increments, no one's really going to understand it. And so this video is kind of like, you could maybe do it in 3-minute increments, but your percentage of view time is going to suck. 1 minute or less, guys. What Google says in their annual report, you can read this in their annual report. I'm not making this up. Google says in their annual report, that regardless of how long the video is, the average view time is 30 seconds. If you create a 30-minute video, people are going skip, 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 30 seconds, done. If you create a 45-second video, people are watching it for 30 seconds and they're done, which gives you a 75% view time as a percentage. That helps you rank above your competitors, and what we're talking about is view time here. Any questions on that concept?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
If you watch your own video, it goes towards the ranking?
No, it doesn't actually. And well, that would depend if you're logged in and your IP address. If you're on his phone and you're watching your video logged in, well, actually, if you're logged in as him, it would count. But if you're logged in as you, it's not going to count as percentage of view time. It will count towards the views. And you can find that when you go to Stats for Nerds. There's a little thing under, I swear that's what it's called. There's a little thing under the videos that say Stats for Nerds. Click on that, and then there's a little, I think it says Quick Start Guide. I can't really remember. I'm doing this from memory. I think it says Quick Start Guide in there, and it'll tell you all the various ranking, not all of them. It tells you a lot of different ranking factors. Good question. Any other questions? Beautiful. Now, again, let's talk about VR, virtual reality. Does anyone here have a virtual reality capable camera? You do? 2 people. You guys got it right here. You could literally go into your store, take a virtual reality video, and get it ranked like that. No one else is doing this right now. This is a great opportunity to exploit it. 5 years from now, everyone's going to be doing this, and you're not going to have the opportunity to exploit it. Now's the time. Seize the day. Do some VR video and get it online. You're not even going to have to tag it right, guys. Google is just ranking VR videos, all right? If you do tag it, like we were talking about, keywords and stop words and geomodifiers and brand names, you'll get ranked even higher longer, okay? Any questions about the VR videos or images? Guys, there's a lot of science behind the best times to upload. I'm giving you the safest option. We can go into all the logistics. There's 3 main times that you can look at. This is Eastern time. If you're in Pacific time, you don't want to post at 2:30. Post at 5:30 your time, okay? A lot of research shows that 10 a.m. is a fantastic time to post because your posts have a lifespan. Your lifespan after work is longer than it is during work. During work, you get busy, man. Someone called you, and all of a sudden, you're not on there anymore, and now you went to lunch, and so it's gone. It's just gone. But when you get home, you have typically more disposable time. And so it's easier, especially when you're at home, to just sort through social media. Think about your own behavior. How many people get home and get on their phone and start doing personal stuff? I do. My wife does. I mean, gosh, all the time. So 5:30 p.m. is a fantastic time to post, catching people off work. The other 2 times that we post, we like to do 10 a.m. and we like to do like 11:45 right before lunch. We find the 11:45 gets a lot of traction as well, but the lifespan on it is lunch hour. People get back to work and they're busy. So this has a much longer lifespan, and it's called a half-life, in case you really want to know. This is talking about pre-scheduling. Remember we talked about creating content? Do you guys remember that? We'll find out what time it is. How much time do we have here? Are we over? Are we over time, guys? Yeah, okay, I'm just finding out how many slides we got here. Okay, we got about 5 more slides. So this is Buffer. There's a lot of different ways to auto-populate content. Buffer is a fantastic way to auto-populate content. Buffer, the huge thing that's great for Buffer is that the link will be your native link. So instead of, if you use Hootsuite, it'll be ow.ly, or even on Buffer, you could have, it'll say buff.ly. Where is it? Buff.ly right here. You can take that off with Buffer and you can use your native link. Also, pictures posted through Buffer will populate to Facebook or populate to Twitter. Think about this. If you're populating a post from Facebook and you say post to Twitter, all you get on Twitter is a little link that says fb.me for an image, which is not really interactive. You want that image there. Remember we talked about bonding and rapport. Buffer has a fantastic dashboard with great analytics. There's an upgrade called the Awesomeness version. You don't have to get the upgrade. We do this for a living all over the world, and we use the free version. So you can use the free version too. There's all different kinds of networks you can interact with. Buffer also allows authorship. If you want to know what authorship is, it's basically Google's attempt to define who created the content first. And so posting through Buffer will allow you to tell Google that this is your original content. If anyone else posts it again, you're still getting the credit. We talked about link shortening on Buffer. Check out Buffer, okay? I think they have a 30-day free trial with the Awesomeness package, but really you don't need it, guys. If this, then that is fantastical. If you like options and you like to be in control, if this, then that is thebomb.com. With if this, then that, I'm going to explain this super quick. See, it says if Facebook, then Dropbox. Sounds like real hardcore programming. If this, then that uses recipes. So if something happens on Facebook, save photos you're tagged into Dropbox. Whoa, that's cool. So if you're tagged in a photo on Facebook, it'll save it to Dropbox? Yes. If something happens on Instagram, then Twitter. Share your Instagram photos as native Twitter photos. It'll do that for you. So you're replicating your efforts. This is when you've chosen your networks and you've decided I'm going to do Instagram and Google Plus and whatever else. You can replicate your efforts right here. Oh, and by the way, you can do this from your phone. Yeah. Sitting on the beach, social media, nice. Okay, so you can even, this is one that we're using. I wanted to show you a recipe that we're using. If Twitter, then Twitter. If someone types in hashtag Dima Show, that's what it says right here, they are put into a list called Dima Show 2016. That's all us. We'll talk to that list next DEMA show. Any questions on that? Guys, I'm over time, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for attending.